Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. We finished up practice. Mind you, during the practice, Sterling Shepard got hit by Troy Hill, the defensive back, slot defensive back for the Browns. And he didn't like how much pressure he got hit with. So he came back and headbutted Troy Hill. They kind of walked away from that. I thought nothing of it. And then after practice, literally 15 to 20 minutes after practice, an argument starts. Sterling Shepard and Troy Hill end up throwing hands. They're fighting. They're squaring up, whatever you want to call it. And it eventually gets broken up. And John Ross literally picked up Sterling Shepard and carried him away. And that's pretty much how the fight ended. But it was just strange that it happened literally after practice. So I don't really know what to make of that. I don't really think it's that big of a deal because, you know, it pretty much was a regular 13-second or 5-second fight where it always gets broken up. Odell broke it up on his side. Saquon and John Ross pretty much stopped it on their side. And that was it. So today, the Giants pretty much dominated early. The second half, they kind of came back to normal. But yesterday, the Browns reporters and today they tried to push a narrative that yesterday the Browns just dominated the Giants and basically just taught them every lesson in the book. And the Giants didn't belong on the same field as the Browns yesterday because they looked like so much of a better team. Now, talk about bias. The Browns reporter said this. Of course, their fans picked up on this. And they just tried to make it seem like they didn't belong on the same field together. And that's just not true. We saw, first of all, the highlights of the plays that the Giants made. I saw their live stream where guys were all in the backfield against their prized offensive line where, you know, you had Harris and Lorenzo Carter and Ojulari and a ton of guys in their backfield in Baker Mayfield's face. So I really don't think that yesterday they dominated. Yes, they had a couple of plays where they made, but the Giants had a couple of plays that they made. Today, the Giants really responded, though. I mean, last practice, I would say, is pretty much, maybe you could give the Browns a small edge, but it wasn't like anybody was outmatched. But today, the Giants came out, and maybe they heard that because they came out fighting 11 on 11s. They were forcing turnovers. I think it was Rodarius Williams. They got an interception on the second team. I think it was someone who I don't know because they've been changing a bunch of numbers. But Devontae Downs swatted a pass, and they got another interception. I think that was also on the second team. But as far as Baker and the first team on 11 on 11s, at the beginning of practice, Baker Mayfield wasn't able to really do much with that offense. And that defense was swarming. The pass rush was working. The secondary was working. They were doing a good job in the intermediate areas. And that's how it pretty much went at the beginning of practice. And they said the Giants pretty much came out, punched the Browns in the mouth, and they had to kind of regroup. The same thing on offense. I saw DJ hit Slayton. I saw him hit Ingram a couple of times. And, you know, everything was going great. CJ Board got a couple of passes and looked good doing that. That's pretty much how that went for that first half of practice. Now, the second half, they did talk about some one-on-ones, but I haven't seen that footage yet. I haven't really been able to find any one-on-ones besides besides Will Hernandez kind of stonewalling Sheldon Day yesterday. I haven't really been able to find too many one-on-ones. But as far as the second half of practice, the Browns were fighting. 7-on-7 in the red zone. Baker Mayfield came out and completed 9 straight passes and was pretty much just carving up this starting Giants secondary. It went to Jarvis Landry. It went to their tight ends. It went to, I think, Donovan Peoples-Jones down there in the red zone. He was hitting everybody. I mean, everybody. Like the ball wasn't touching the ground. So that was something that the Giants defense was going to have to respond to. Next after that, they came out there in the red zone. Baker Mayfield was hitting guys again, scored a couple of touchdowns. And finally, I think it was Azeez Ojulari that came through and pretty much chased Baker Mayfield down and stopped one of those red zone plays. But those plays are definitely more, predicated towards the offense. It's meant for the offense to be able to get things done. But Baker looked really good at first until that pass rush started to come through. And when you switch over to the Giants, Daniel Jones, he looked good. I think he threw a couple of incompletions, but he did also throw a couple of touchdowns down there. Threw one to Alex Bachman, extended the play, pretty much ran to the sideline as you see, like sprinting towards the sideline to his right. Threw a nice pass in the corner of the end zone to Alex Bachman. Looked pretty good. Like I said, he had 2 touchdowns down there, but I don't think he looked as good as Baker did because, I mean, that dude basically wasn't throwing any incompletions down there in the red zone and in 7-on-7s. But the next period was the 2-minute drill, and I like the Giants in the 2-minute drill. Now, it started off, the Browns were hitting guys. I mean, the Giants really weren't covering these running backs out of the backfield. But you also have to remember they're not hitting guys, and they can't really press these guys and get physical with them as they're trying to run their routes. So that's kind of understandable. But the Browns were hitting these guys, going down the field until we finally got, I think we got a sack. Then it ended up being 4th down, and Trent Harris came through and got some pressure, and of course didn't actually tackle him, but got the sack on Baker Mayfield. And that ended their 2-minute drill. So the Giants pretty much won that part of the 2-minute drill. Next up was Daniel Jones. And the Giants offense, he came out, immediately hit CJ Board on a couple of plays. CJ Board was looking pretty good. He hit him on a couple of plays. We got about, 15 yards. And then ended up giving up a sack. I think it was Chad Slade or Matt Parrott ended up giving up a sack. And then we ended up being backed out. It was 3rd down. I think we had an incompletion. So it was 3rd down and about 15. And then I don't know who it was, but someone on the Giants offensive line had a false start. So that ended up moving us back about 5 more yards. And then Daniel Jones comes out and throws a nice pass to Evan Ingram. We get about 7 to 10 yards. And then after that, the next play, Daniel Jones comes out, extends the play, runs left, and throws about a 30-yard pass to Sterling Shepard. So that obviously should have gotten us to convert on 4th down and gotten us in position to kick that game-winning field goal. But they blew the play dead, after it was over. They basically said that he got sacked, which there was no one in the area. There was no one in the area of Daniel Jones. But they said it was a sack, so they gave the Browns the win for that practice. But it didn't really make much sense to me. It seemed like the referees and everything was against the Giants. Not that I'm one of those Giants fans that just says everything is a conspiracy theory, but it really looked like some of those calls were purposely going towards the Browns. Not really anything to worry about because, I mean, it's practice, so who cares? But after that, I would say what I saw during that period and pretty much all during practice, Matt Parrott did not look good. And they were missing their top 4 pass rushers on the edge. So he's going against their 5th and 6th string pass rushers. And Matt Parrott did not look good on the edge. That is something that I'm going to be concerned about until he proves me otherwise. But he did not look good in the plays that I saw. He gave up a lot of pressure around the edge. And that's how he got beat on that first pass against the Jets. That's how he got that. That's how he gave up that first sack. So hopefully he can kind of settle in and stop giving up that pressure around the edge. I'm pretty sure that's just a matter of technique because he's got all the athleticism and length in the world to be able to stop those edge rushers from getting around, the outside. Chad Slade also was playing left guard a little bit, and he did not look good at all there. So I hope that we don't see him back there, especially as a starter, but he didn't look too good. Good things, though. Azeez Ojulari and Trent Harris were in the backfield. They were getting a lot of pressure. Trent Harris has been getting a lot of pressure going back to even the Jets game. I mean, even against the Jets, Trent Harris was constantly in the backfield, and he's been doing this all week as far as against the Browns these past 2 days. He's been getting a ton of pressure, and today I think maybe he got his first sack. But Trent Harris has looked really good, and the same thing with Azeez Ojulari. He's been all over the place. At least today he was, and I saw him in the backfield yesterday rushing from the inside. Again, I mentioned DJ and Slayton, and DJ and Ingram looked great. They had great chemistry, and that Daniel Jones to Evan Ingram connection seems to get stronger and stronger every practice. And Slayton already had the chemistry. I think as he stays healthy, it's only going to make him a better player. So Slayton continues to look good. Ingram continues to look good. I think it was a good competitive 2 days of practice, and we'll see a little bit more this Sunday. So I will be streaming this Sunday for at least the first half. Again, see you guys then if you're able to make it. Have a great rest of your day. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.